Welcome to the Happy Pear podcast, where our ultimate goal is to inspire, educate, and awaken your curiosity, and overall to help you to become healthier and happier.
We're Dave and Steve, identical twins who started a veg shop nearly 20 years ago. Since then, it's expanded into a social following of over 1.5 million people, nearly 50 million views of our videos, nearly 500,000 books sold, cafes, farms, apps, courses, food products to help you to eat more veg.
We speak to thought leaders, health experts, trailblazers, and specialists of all kinds, from the ones you know to those you've never ever heard of. This week's podcast is sponsored by Vivo Barefoot shoes. We've been wearing them for 6 years, and genuinely, they are our favourite shoes, and that is all we wear beyond being barefoot.
So if you're interested, vivobarefoot.com, and the code is HappyPear15. Well, hello and welcome, Jane.
Hi, you guys.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, lads.
In person. Thank you for being here. It's wonderful.
It's so great to be here. It's so great to be back in County Wicklow, Greystones. What do you call it? Pearville?
Pearville, yeah.
Is it really Pearville, or is that what you guys call it?
No, that's what we call. No, that's what the address is. Yeah,
The
Pearville.
address is Pearville.
You guys changed the map.
Yeah. Pearville, the Happy Pear. Yeah, that's our that's our factory, our food production facility for anyone who doesn't know. Yeah,
And where the
perfect.
studio is.
Yeah.
And your pull-up station.
yeah.
Or
Our
what do you call
prison
what do you
gym.
call them?
Prison gym.
Well, I think it's great, like in between, say you're feeling a little flat or you're feeling like you need a little burst or maybe it's a little high note before you hit another level peg. It
something.
just gives you
Go out
an
there,
outlet.
vent the energy. You know all about that having three brothers.
Oh yeah, but yours looks like a gallows. Like someone has to sit and watch. Another
But
person.
it's got so old that it needs a counterbalance. So if someone's hanging off it, it might fall over and smash them. So someone has to sit down the fire. And,
that kind of
it's
works.
funny.
So
That's
there
so
we go.
funny.
Well,
Great to have you here and great to have Zeb here for the summer. So that's Jane's son Zeb is coming to work for the summer with us, and we're really excited.
Oh, he's so excited. We're so excited. I wish I had an excuse to come back again in a few months to visit again.
oh, there you
And
go.
just see when,
September.
when he's fully integrated, when he has
Yeah.
his little
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
bit going on.
Yeah. Well, great to have you. And I'd love to kick it off by talking about it's almost like the fruition of your cooking career with your mother.
Oh, it's so exciting. It's so exciting. Yeah, we did. We had a book that just came out in the fall of 2022. And it was so exciting because the interest of you guys have been, you have so many plaques on the wall of your cafe of the best this, the best that, all those accolades. But it was wonderful with my mom, who's, 88.
She
To
is
have-
amazing as well.
She is like, I don't know if you guys know the Energizer Bunny. Do you know what that is?
Yeah,
She just goes and goes, like kind of like
And
your
still
mom.
like that, like still just
Without hesitation, and there's no speed bumps in her way. She just goes. So we wrote this book in August, and what's so exciting is that it made the New York Times bestseller list, which in the States means a
That's a big
lot.
deal,
It just shows there's lots of interest.
Wow.
So it's to all your efforts and everyone's efforts at getting the plant-based message out there that here's this book with these two white-haired white women talking about plants. So you think it would be like a lullaby and put everyone to sleep, but it was really well received, and so we've been talking about it. So I was so excited, and the book's called "Be a Plant-Based Woman Warrior: Live Fierce, Stay Bold, Eat Delicious." Woohoo!
I like that. I really like
Yeah.
that.
So it really is targeting women. Like it's really about kind of going.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
And yes,
Okay. No. Yes. Okay. Great.
it's both. I mean, there's so many. Like I guess for us, I did all the recipes in my brother Rip's book. You guys know Rip.
Yeah.
He adores you guys. We all adore you guys.
Oh, should we love Rip too? What
Um,
a gem.
And all his books, I helped him with the recipe sections. So I was like a firefighter in my mind. Okay, we're gonna do like dead gun nachos, and we're gonna do all these sort of I don't know. It felt like
Masculine macho
yeah,
names,
yeah, like firefighter, manly stuff. And then with my mom, she and I did some books along with my dad's message of preventing and reversing heart disease. You guys know it's
Of course,
your what's your course called? Your heart
Happy Heart
course.
course.
your
yeah.
Happy Heart course. Those guidelines, that's really tight and strict.
Yeah.
No meat, no dairy, no added oil, and minimize the salt and the
Fat
sweet.
content,
Yeah,
yeah.
just get it all nice and tight there. So we would do all these books like pretending we had heart disease, not pretending, but like as if we have heart disease, and then as if I'm a firefighter. So my mom and I were like, let's just do a book that is ours, that it really talks what we're all about and how we live. And so we knew we were on the right course because we got the contract for the book March 7th of 2020. And that was 1 week, as you guys all know. Well, maybe in the States.
Yeah, before COVID, yeah.
Just the week.
wow.
It was like 5
And
days
that was
later.
it. Now you got time to write a book.
5 days later, everything was shut down, but we had our contract to write a book, and we were like, phew, we have something to do before the earth ends or whatever's happening.
Yeah,
And
wow.
so anyway, we started to do all these recipes, and we knew we were on the right track for this being a book for women when we assessed what we had. Like, I don't know how you guys write your cookbooks, but we kind of have a breakfast and then, lunches, soups, sauces, dinners, da. So we looked at what we had, and we had about 5 breakfasts, about 6 lunches, 7 dinners. We had 44 desserts.
Wow.
So we knew we were on track for this to be for women. No, but I'm joking. That's truly what we had. But so we made this for women. Kind of in the intro and the discussion, we talked specifically about like how plants powerfully support women, which we can get there if you guys want to.
Yeah.
But also in there, as you guys know, you've seen in your Happy Heart course, and you got all these other courses you do that address.
Well, we got a menopause one, which is specifically to women, which
Right
that one's been
on.
really interesting to kind
And
of
that's with
explore
a
that
kind
one.
of senior consultant gynecologist. She's brilliant, amazing.
You guys are doing it. Yeah, you're doing it all and then some. So exactly. So we, in our book, we have so many testimonials that we've heard about, see about. We get the emails like you guys, I'm sure do. But we wanted to get specific women who we have seen go through this transition, like women who have had heart disease and they've reversed it. So we have testimonial about heart disease, testimonial about all kinds of autoimmune stuff with rheumatoid arthritis and MS, and then with the women's below the belt stuff. Sort of the beautiful and sad story of this young woman who I'm sure you've heard about this. She couldn't get pregnant. She was just married. She was 23 or something. Got married, and kind of unfortunately, her father had a heart attack. So she got married, and she's trying to get pregnant. She can't get pregnant, can't figure it out. Her dad has a heart attack, and he starts to eat a plant-based diet. Her doctor tells her, oh, it's because you have fibroids. We need to remove your uterus.
Wow.
And she's 23.
Wow.
You're fresh, newly married. Oh, and you can't have kids. Like, how do you adapt to that? So luckily, she was so sad, she went to her parents' house, and she's eating with them the plant-based diet because he had a heart attack. He's eating preventing first heart disease, it's Dr. Esselstyn, da. Next thing you know, she's pregnant. And the fibroid had shrunk up or gone away or whatever happened to it. Her endometrial lining just, gave up that big. I always compare them to, like, do you guys have caves here in Ireland?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Do you have stalactites?
Oh yeah,
Stalactites, stalagmites.
Yeah.
The ones that hang down. I think of fibroids as being these like stalactites because they hang down and they drip blood. So women get anemic from these fibroids because they're losing so much blood that they would with their menstrual period. And somehow her stalactite just shrunk away, and she had a baby. And I want her to call her baby Fib. For fibroid and for the fib, the lie that her doctor was telling her that she had to have it removed. Anyway, so just these testimonials for women. So these books, I say they're for women, yes, but it's also for anyone who wants to eat plant-based. And I don't care how you identify,
Yeah.
And they kind of represent the feminine. And I think that's like, I'd love to roll it back to like your mother's now 88 and
89.
88. My dad's 89.
88.
Okay. And that, like, so there's 3 generations of your family that have been plant-based. And like, at what point did your mom and dad turn plant-based? Because this is like something that was very cutting edge when it came out first.
Thank you for asking that. That's like really why we call this like Live Fierce is in our subtitle, because it's what my mom did in 1983-ish. So 40 years ago.
Wow.
In Cleveland, Ohio, which may have been similar to Greystones. Like
It's definitely not California. It's definitely not.
No, you guys. So you go to the States well enough. Yeah. We're not New York. We're not California. Ohio.
You're not even in the coast. You're kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
Not in the middle, but you're
we're
more
the
to the east middle.
heartbeat of America.
Okay.
They're in the middle, as we call it. But there was no Whole Foods market. There was no Happy Pear. There was no internet. So my mom was like, "What's that? You want?" My dad's like, "We're going to eat a." Well, we didn't know the term plant-based back then. He said, we're not going to eat anymore. Let me back up. My dad said because of his breast cancer patients, because he's a general surgeon, that I really want my patients to eat a certain way. So let's eat this way first ourselves.
She's good on him putting it to practice straight away, wanting to try it on him
Himself.
and Anne first.
A very Gandhian way of trying it. Like if I can't ask them to do it, if I can't do it. So meanwhile, They have 4 kids who are all athletes, like all collegiate athletes, and and a dog. And my mom works full time as a teacher, and my dad works full time as a surgeon. So my mom's like, okay. And so
She just goes, yeah, let's do it.
yeah, because she's a badass. She can do anything. She just
Yeah.
onward.
Wow.
So no meat, no dairy, no added oil, no fat, no salt, no sugar, no sweet.
No fun.
Well, that's we were like, what are we going to do?
And prior to that, was it just a standard American diet?
Ish. Like we only ate whole wheat bread. Like we thought was healthy. We never ate eggs. We ate skim milk, some cheese. Like it would seem like
So it was still a big jump.
it was a big jump. Like our fancy, if you came for dinner, my mom was like, oh, we'll have flank steak and cheese souffle. I can still like see it and smell it to this day. But yeah, so we ate all those other things until 83. And so my mom just picked up this mantle and went with it. And, people stop inviting you to dinner.
There weren't even many cookbooks back then. Like
None.
it was
Like McDougal had a little something. Mary McDougal had, the McDougals?
Yeah.
Wow.
But anyway, so she was fierce about it and stuck with it, and we made it work.
And how did you guys, like, as the kids, adapt it? Were you just like,
I mean,
what am I
Ted,
eating?
Rip was like, I'm off to Texas to go swim. See ya. So he went to swim for Texas. Ted, my brother, went to Yale to swim, and luckily we all figured out our ways. I went to Michigan, University of Michigan. I don't know if you've heard of Michigan.
Yeah.
In the middle, yeah.
And my other brother also went to Michigan. We all swam. Like, it's weird how we all were.
Like Ohio isn't by the coast or anything. So
We're
how'd
the
you
Great
learn-
Lakes.
Oh,
You know
is
those
that where you
great-
learned to swim or just in
No,
pools?
just pools. 25-yard pool.
Wow.
Wow.
And anyway, so we all had to make our way, figured it out, and something was appealing enough in what my dad said to all of us that we all tried it and went for it. And part of why I have this in the subtitle "Eat Delicious" is because when I was at Michigan swimming for them, and this is a few months before we went this plant-based way. I was training, and I won Big Tens, which doesn't mean anything probably to anyone in Ireland, but it's a thing. And then I made nationals, NCAAs. Have you heard of them?
Heard of that.
Wow,
Anyway,
yeah, so that's
it's
the National American team for swimming.
No,
National College
National-
Athletic Association.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
big event
Wow.
at the States. And so I'm training for that, and my suit isn't fitting like I want it to, and I know you have to eat, and you're training every morning and every afternoon, and you're lifting, and I was on scholarship at Michigan to swim, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And like, I've got 3 brothers, so I'm part of the machinery. Like, let's go, feed, water, sleep, train, feed, water, just kind of what you do. But I'm starting to like get curvy and fill out a little bit, and I was like, what? And I start thinking like, am I eating? How am I look? Just thoughts that had never entered my mind started to come in, of like body and not feeling like I'm myself. And but wait, I want to be. I got to keep eating. I didn't know what to do. How do I eat and feel like a woman and feel strong, but also be comfortable as an 18-year-old female in America?
Wow.
So it's just, I knew my brothers hadn't thought for a moment about any of these things. And I was so, like, my brothers are still in like my world, like, this is so unfair. Like, this is bullshit. And sorry, I can't swear. I don't know.
Of course,
if-
yeah.
I-
Far
I-
away. Go for it.
It's BS. And anyway, my parents literally called at kind of around that time and said, hey, we're eating this plant-based way. So I started eating a little more plant-based, and it felt better. I mean, it takes a couple years to get a hang of it, especially at college when you're living there on your own and sort of figuring out how to eat on your
You're
own.
trying to cook how the hell you soak a lentil and you cook it like, and,
No, exactly. And I don't think I had any beans in my life until around this time, which is hard to believe. I didn't have hummus till I was in college.
No,
hummus
it's
was
normal. We
weird. In
didn't
the
have-
80s, hummus was weird. Like,
Did you have hummus when you were
We
growing
had
up?
our
No.
first, we had our first kiwi when we were about 15. We ate a pomegranate when we were 21
I remember
in
eating
New
a
York.
mango when I was 21. I remember eating an avocado. I remember reading about avocados in health books. And I remember 22,
In
maybe
New
it's 22. I was walking out of Walmart and I bought an avocado. And I remember thinking, I've never eaten this. How the hell do I eat it? Like, do you
It's
pull
greasy.
the skin off? And then it was an unripe one. I didn't know what a ripe one was. And I remember eating it just thinking, oh, these are rotten. And then when I finished, I was like, I don't feel any different. Like, I thought I'd feel so much better after eating that thing. I just feel a bit sick. But yeah, that was the 80s. Like,
Yeah, no,
well,
yeah,
I was a lot.
We hadn't had hummus. Certainly hadn't had a kiwi either.
Wow.
Oh, it's so funny. anyway, so it's stuck, and like I know that it's made me not have that food head, like that food head.
Food in relationship with your body. Is that what you meant?
We were
Kind
kind
of
of
how it
talking about
affects your
that.
self-image.
As in food issues or that type of thing.
Yeah, like I eat, and I like what I eat, and I feel good about what I eat, and you have energy and comfort in your body. And I think as a female, men I'm sure feel the same way to a certain degree, but I know just from my perspective as a woman, to just be in your body and be comfortable, it takes some work, and you also want to have that balance of like, I want to be able to eat and have energy and be able to take up space on the planet and feel okay about that and feel at peace with it. So it was wonderful how I felt that at age 18, because I don't know, I feel so wicked lucky that I
discovered
this at such a young age, and to have given this to our 3 kiddos and my parents, to all 20 of us. It's the greatest gift, and it keeps on giving.
And do like, because so your parents started in 1983, and then it filtered down. There's Rip, Ted, Zeb, and yourself, Jane, 4E. And then you've all made 16.
Did you like, okay, so Caldwell tried it as an experiment before the breast people that he was doing surgery on people struggling with breast cancer, wasn't it? And it was a trial initially, so it went well with him, and then
his breast cancer patients, my dad put, you've Caldwell, you mean?
Yeah, Caldwell Jr. Senior.
Okay. Essie.
Your dad.
You call him Essie if you know him.
Essie is for dad.
You guys can call him Essie.
Okay.
So yeah, he had his breast cancer patients try this way, but cancer markers, it's a much slower thing to turn around. But what he saw happening with these breast cancer patients was all of their cardiac numbers were plummeting. Their HDL, their LDL, their total cholesterol, their blood pressure, their, anyway, all the inflammation markers just plummeting. So he's like, oh, we're reversing heart disease over here in general surgery, and all the cardiologists at the Cleveland Clinic are saying, you stick with your anorexia over there and in your general surgery. We don't need that here. He's like, no, I'm serious. Come on, knock. Come on. So he finally was given some patients from the cardiology department. The patients who had already had stents put in, and people who had had angioplasty. They put a balloon in there and they sort of blast the plaque out, but they just blast it to a different place. They don't get rid of it. And so these people who had failed their stents, failed their angioplasties, and really had no other option from the expert cardiac care at the clinic, they gave these patients to my dad. They called it the Walking Dead. And people who were compliant with this diet, as you guys know from your Happy Heart courses, they all thrived. And they all lived for decades and decades, and none of them died of cardiac-related diseases.
Wow.
Which is amazing. And he still works for the Cleveland Clinic today, close to 90, because he's still preventing and reversing.
The Cleveland Clinic is one of the leading kind of clinics in the world.
Yeah. He still has he's in their sort of their wellness institute sort of branch of things, not in their big machine of.
Wow.
I mean, it's.
And then how did he quickly saw that there was huge medical benefit of it, and then how did he manage to convince the 3 older teenagers, young 20s athletes to need a whole food plant-based diet? Because at that age, typically you're still rebelling from your parents. You haven't quite come back to go, we're now in a peer-to-peer relationship.
No, and exactly. We're all like a year apart. So we were like 17, 18, 19, and 20 or younger, somewhere around that. And we would come home in the summers and train. Like Rip was doing triathlons, and so was Ted, and I was. So we're all still training still. So we come home and we'd eat this way, and then when you go back, you sort of feel gross. Like you guys know, if you suddenly had a big, I don't even know, like a big. What would we eat? I don't even know what I would eat if I had to eat something gross or not gross, like not vegan. A big burger with cheese on it. Okay. Like you'd be asleep on the floor. Or I don't know. That would knock us out, and so it just felt so much. It felt so much better, and it was a little bit of we understood why. And our dad's not a like flights of fancy. He just this is clear, and this is it, and he's he's a badass. He won the Olympics.
Wow.
In crew.
He won the Olympics, and you're all like world-class swimmers. Like, it's hilarious.
It is sort of funny, but he does things, and he does things well.
He won an Olympic medal as well as all the other stuff.
Yeah, and he was in anyway. Yeah, he was in the MASH unit in Vietnam. You know, the Vietnam War that we were involved in. Maybe you guys don't know about
Yeah,
that.
heard of it, yeah.
heard of it. Yeah.
He was an army surgeon for a long time there. Well, which is, I mean, he does things well. Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez, good.
So, and then you meeting your husband, and then was he originally Brian? Was he originally plant-based, or did you?
I don't think I
you
would
work
have,
your magic on him.
a little bit of both. I don't think I would have even dated him if he wasn't vegetarian. You know, but a big carnivore would have been so hard to
Yeah, of course.
figure out. But he was vegetarian, and then he over the years became vegan and plant-based, and now he is the executive director of the Esselstyn Foundation, which, you know, works to promote the power of the plant-based diet and how it prevents and reverses heart disease, or prevents and reverses lifestyle-related diseases, as you guys are doing. And we do everything for free for anyone who get a group together. We'll talk. We'll present.
Wow.
So
Pretty
he's on board
so
big
he's
time.
full time.
Yeah. Well, he's also getting his master's degree to help broken men.
Oh, amazing.
He's a great man.
Oh, he's cool. But sure, your family is beautiful. Like, you've a really tight unit, which is beautiful to see. And I think that's one thing I'd love to explore with you is, like, one, raising plant-based kids, which is kind of outside of the norm if you look at society at large, and that how do you do that? And for anyone listening who obviously isn't plant-based but is curious about their children eating healthier, or how you push back.
What do they mean? Like, you're a nurse and you would have heard all the questions from all the people in the schoolyard going, well, where are they getting their calcium? And now you couldn't ask Cryle here where she's getting her protein, because, like, breaking national records of swimming, you're kind of going, well, no one's going to be asking your children where they get their protein.
No, they'll be asking, can I eat what you're eating?
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, can I have some of your lunch? Like, they're specimens. You're like, in the best sense, like, incredible physiques.
Well, so as far as switching to a plant-based diet, like, I know that we did, as, like I say, my brothers and I did it when we were teens, back in the day when it was, you know, it was the 80s.
Really, really strange and bizarre.
It was really strange. Again, we didn't know what hummus was or kiwis. And for our kiddos, kind of probably like your kiddos, this is what they know. It's their norm, and it's becoming
And were you
more
worried raising your kids, like, straight away, suddenly, like, you and Brian going, okay, we're going to raise our kids plant-based? Like, because it's,
we didn't even think about it.
That was just
like,
that.
What's in your house? Do you have anything in your house that should
No.
Yeah. So your kids don't, I mean, at one point our kids were like, why would you want to eat a animal? Like, why would you want to do that? Like, you read these beautiful children books about, here's a beautiful little bunny and the lamb and the cow, and then let's go hang it upside down and, you know.
Mine are kind of pushing back. Mine are like maybe because it's strongly put down on them, and that, like, my wife is Polish, so during summer they'll go over to Poland, and in Poland the meat is everywhere. And, like, I'm bizarre, like, they still don't get, like, I guess my parents-in-law who are in their 80s, they compare me to my brother-in-law, who's kind of a big burly man, like, wonderful man, big burly. I look skinny, and they think I look unhealthy, whereas he looks really healthy. Because they're from that generation that if you're big and you're overweight, you're healthy. Like, you've calories to last when there's a hungry period.
So that's a sign of
wealth,
health and wealth and
so it's just different.
As prosperity. Wow.
Maybe just carrying your calorie. You know, it's like more efficient if
Anyway, I'm
times 100
digressing.
came or
Sorry.
something, I don't know.
No, that's so interesting.
Yeah. So like, I'm at that age where my kids are kind of pushing back. Like, you know, if Shiv's minding them and they go, can we go get a sandwich? May I want to go get a ham and cheese sandwich? And I'm like, I like, they'll not do it when I'm there. They'll do it when they know they can get away with it. But they're curious. They want to find, and they want to find themselves within all this, which I think is important.
And our kids, we would say, hey, go to your birthday party, go to your sleepover, the overnights, go do your things. But, like, when you're eating at home, like,
it's the same as us.
Yeah, the benign dictatorship at home.
And the very clear dictatorship in ours. It's like, no.
And when you go, like, they'd have cheese pizza. They would have. They never wanted to have meat, which was really interesting. And we kept saying, try it, taste it, see if you want it. And Zeb one time, I think Zeb had a piece of chicken at one of those, you know, those restaurants where they cook the veal in front of you. What's it called, Cryle? Like a Benihana. It's like they have a big hot griddle in front of you,
barbecue kind of places.
An Asian anyway. So and they flicked the piece of chicken to him, and his friends were like, "Go eat it." So he had this, and he's like, "It felt like I was eating chewing gum because it sticks to your teeth." Do you remember how meat would stick to your teeth?
Wow.
And I was like, "Oh, that's right, it did." And he was like, "It was just weird." Because he's so used to tofu, which you just bite it and then, you know,
just falls
you're
apart.
Tofu. That's hilarious.
because you bite it and then your teeth go through. Anyway, so we pushed them to try it, and they all got more and more into being plant-based as they got older. And now they're now, 21, 2, 3, 4-ish. 21, anyway, they're all that age, early 20s.
Early 20s.
And they're embracing it all the more. I think with the whole message around the climate, the message around sustainability, around ethics, it just, and your pocketbook, it just makes sense on every level.
Yeah.
Really
And as
does.
you guys know, you talk about that on all
Yeah,
your
yeah.
podcasts and everything.
Yeah. Well, and what would you say some of the main questions, like you bringing up the kids plant-based, what were some of the main concerns? Like for anyone listening who kind of goes, oh, this sounds super extreme. Like what were some of the main questions that people would ask you or kind of challenge you with? Because when you are extreme, like as in not following the norm, people will often, like they'll whisper questions, not to your face, but then some people will be brave enough to ask you the question straight to your face, which you really appreciate because like,
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
No, and people, well, like what questions do you guys get?
Oh, the usual ones. But I'd love to hear
No,
what
I
you
want to
get.
hear, what's the number one question you guys are asked?
I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
I live in such a bubble. I live
know,
in such
I
a
know,
bubble. I
so
am
do we.
so...
So do we. So that's why I was kind of asking you, but of course,
probably protein,
where do you get your protein?
calcium.
Where do you get protein? And I just look at them and be like we're all I mean, we're not like scrawny and we're not obese. Like we're all well muscled. We all have too much energy. Like I don't drink any caffeine, and I'm like out of the bed like a cannonball out of a cannon. And my kids are all really doing well as athletes. We all did well as athletes. I got more hair in my head than I want sometimes. And by any marker, we're not missing anything. Protein's not as you guys know, it's not. People think it's like gives you energy, and it doesn't. It's a building block. But anyway, so the protein question, sometimes like Cryle said earlier, we just flip it back. Well, where do you get your protein? And they have no idea.
Yeah.
Like they become do you guys know Doug Lyle?
Yeah.
And
Pleasure trap.
Yeah, he's great. He's just like, when your friends become these biochemists, as soon as you say you're vegan, like suddenly this biochemistry degree comes out like, oh, where do you get your protein? Like they never pulled it out before. And about calcium and, kind of the same way you guys probably respond, just like calcium it's an alkaline earth metal. It comes from the ground. That's where the cow, she gets it from having her face there in the ground, eating all she eats, and then having it go through her body and come out her udder is not the way to get that earth alkaline metal. Just go ahead and eat from the ground or eat from the sea. And what I don't like about answering all these questions with people is it ruins the conversation.
It becomes very us versus them and polarized.
It becomes
preaching.
preaching.
And it's either us versus them, but if they're friends of yours and they like you and they're like, oh, and then they feel so bad and the whole conversation is around plant-based eating and you're suddenly all in this tiny subculture. And I'm like, can we get back to like a human conversation about something else? Like, what's your favorite Jow's album? I don't, just anything. Anything else?
Yeah.
So
And that's where we always find moving it around just to eat more veg is a lot more
I love
accessible.
that. I love
it's not
that.
us versus them. It's like, listen, you can't argue with eat more veg, and pretty much everyone go,
and
it's pretty spot on.
And you
More
guys
healthy.
were honestly a big inspiration, like for us writing this book. Inspiration around one of your tofu recipes I loved, and we did a twist on sort of that, like a gingery, garlic gingery sesame seedy one, and I gave you guys a tip of the hat to that, and a pickled thing. But when we say live fierce, stay bold, eat delicious, staying bold is part of what this whole eat more veg recipes, what I had in my mind, because as I was saying earlier, so many women are the ones behind thinking about food, preparing food, shopping for food, maybe even growing food and harvesting food, and serving food. So in the name of love, women have sort of unwittingly and unconsciously, really, I know in the States, served up this food that's made their generations of families so sick. So our message is to stay bold and serve more veg, eat more veg, just putting more veg on that plate in the name of love and serving it up, planning more, just be bold, stick with this message like Jane Esselstyn, just fiercely staying with plants. And you get used to it. And your microbiome then is looking for more kimchi. It's looking for more kale, looking for more mushroom tea or whatever.
And even just to camp out into the woman's thing, because I think that's so important that and we have talked, as we have created a menopause course and all. And so we definitely and loads of people listening, loads of our listeners are women. And I'd love to kind of go, even from a health perspective, what are things that because you're as you said, the 3 generations of women that have been plant-based in your family. So you've watched it go, you've been at it since your teens, your daughter, Cryle's been at it her life, and your mom's been doing it for 40 years. And what are the things that you see time and time again for anyone listening that you go, what are the challenges? What are the benefits? Particularly because a woman's body functions differently to man's. There's more complexity to it.
Well, thank you for saying it that way.
Yeah.
I didn't have to say it that way. But humans are so similar. We're all made of the same Legos. Do you guys have Legos here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all made of the same Legos. You guys have nipples. Why? We all kind of have the same bits and parts and pieces. And so we really, eating this way benefits all of us. But for women, I feel as I talked earlier, it helps us. I'm going to go from head to toe here. It helps us so much in our mindset around food. Eating plant-based, you can eat so much. And
as in volume as well.
Volume, color, size, amount. I don't think about portions. I don't wear a watch to count steps or whatever, or calories, or you've got such freedom. And that's a beautiful thing to have around food, especially as a woman.
Freedom. That's
it's
really
such
nice
food
one.
freedom. And just
even speaking to a friend there recently, she was talking about the Special K diet that came out in the 80s, where if you ate 2 small bowls, I think it was 30 grams of Special K, you were going to be in a calorie deficit for the day. And people really got into this, and it was quite a thing for kind of young girls. So to hear you talk about freedom, I imagine that's just liberating.
No, it's so great to have freedom with anything. So that's wonderful here. And moving on down, this is I teach middle school sex ed.
Yeah, no.
And so to go,
I'd love to get into that now.
Puberty from head to toe is how I teach that. So I feel I'm going my puberty from head to toe, but this is plant-based from head to toe. So it's a great mindset. I know with your skin, as you guys know, your skin you feel better. I don't mind wrinkles. I love seeing your smile lines. I love it. And not everyone does that, but I'm just, I know that your skin gets much better, hydration and vascular health on a plant-based diet. Because women care about their skin. I don't really care about my skin so much, but in puberty, that is a big step. And you guys have family members coming into puberty soon, if they're not already there. And it just makes it an easier ride because, coming into puberty can be a very acute, oh my gosh, what is this? Zits and pits and, just hair and fluid and things that wobble and grow. And you're like, what is this? But it just makes it such a smoother ride if you're not dealing with the most outward, your face you can't cover. Everything else kind of gets to be covered a little bit through puberty, but your face is just, you're growing a beard, you're maybe getting pimples, and it just makes it an easier ride with the pimple stuff. And then coming on down, breast health. You guys have covered this a lot with people, just the breast health on a plant-based diet. I really adore a woman named Dr. Christy Funk. If you guys haven't talked to her.
She's amazing.
She's
hilarious. She's wild and powerful and just wow. There's a fierce, wild, bold woman.
She's a woman warrior for sure. And there's in America, or maybe it's International Day of the Woman, March 8th. Maybe you guys recognize that. I don't know. But March 8th is when I have my women's conference every year virtually. And she was my speaker this year. And I said, Christy, what do you want to call your talk? And she's like, 18 breast cancer crushing foods. And I was like, oh, that's a great list. But what do you want your talk to be? She's like, no, my talk is 18 breast cancer crushing foods. And I was like, all right, great. And for the first 20 plus minutes of her 50-minute talk, so for almost half of her talk, she talked about one food. You know what it was? And I was getting paranoid. I'm like, she's got
soy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Soy for 20 minutes. The power of that in being breast cancer crushing was beautiful. Because I was freaking out, she's got 17 more things to get to in 20 minutes. Is she going to make it? She kicked it right in the goal at the end. Beautiful. But anyway, so please, if anyone wants to know really about
Dr. Christy Funk. Yeah,
Dr. Christy Funk, and I'm sure Gemma Newman, I don't, she's more hormonal stuff, but it's beautiful how they all talk about how protective a plant-based diet is to one's breast health. And then like your happy shape. What's your course called around?
Oh yeah. Weight loss, one happy shape. Yeah.
Yeah, happy shape. Just like feeling comfortable with your shape is also a lot of mental work and acceptance and everything. But just it's lovely to feel okay with your shape. And I know to have clothes that are kind of the same shape that you are for as long as possible makes you feel good. You guys were wearing the same shorts from 6 years ago, it looks like.
Yeah, there's probably a bit of truth to that.
Well, no, we get new shorts every year. We buy like 3 new pairs every year, and then in and out. They literally fall off us.
They're like a uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
You
see.
just don't have to think about something.
Usually
And,
my
and they're,
wife just
they're
tells me.
multifunctional because they're flexible. So it's like I can stretch them, I can do
Yeah,
yoga in them, I can do handstands in them.
I
and
can
I
run
can
in
go,
them.
and because they're
Run
dark,
marathons
they
in
kind of...
yeah, they don't show the dirt.
There you go.
Or the finger smudges when you're eating the napkin.
No, I wipe them my legs. Because then you get to reabsorb any kind of food. Like,
Yeah, but that's such freedom to have like, oh, I've got 3 pairs of pants that that's all I do. That's all I wear. So many people like their body, their clothes, how to wear, what do they wear? They buy things endlessly. They just don't have that comfort, and that's such a freedom.
yeah, 3
And
pairs
it saves
of
you
shorts.
tons of money too.
It's
That's
handy being
great.
twins as well. That you can like that. There's
Oh,
almost
so you
like,
actually have 6 pairs.
Yeah, 6
Yeah.
pairs between us.
There you go. There you go. There you go. And then now, like below the belt, there's so many ways, and you guys covered a lot of this in your podcasts and with other people. But and I've talked to you guys before about Kuva, which is the order of events below the belt for women, and I talked about this with
Kuva.
Kuva.
CKU.
CUVA. It's
Okay,
just
Kuva.
it's an acronym. And that stands for the order of events
Vulvaninus.
below the belt for women, because especially in middle school, you're talking to all these kids about below the belt stuff, and if we talk about the male anatomy first, everyone's just like laughing and having fun, and just this jocularity around all this comfort and joy, and the bat and the balls and the twigs and the berries and all the things down there, and ha 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 ha. But then when you get to talk about the women's stuff, it's silence.
Is it? You've done this loads of times. So you've seen
30
this.
years.
I just remember us going for our first sex ed. We were in 6th class.
Yeah.
And I remember it being hilarious. It was all boys.
Yeah.
It was St. Kevin's school.
I
Remember that?
remember.
And I just remember it being hilarious. We were
Yes.
so awkward. Like in Catholic Ireland,
Oh, God.
Catholic school,
Well, I remember Dad-
all boys,
Well, I
and
remember Mum
talking
and
about
Dad-
Mickeys.
Mum and
Or
Dad sat us
penises,
down. Mum
and
and
it was
Dad
just-
sat us down. when
Mickey's
we
is
were-
what you call them?
Mickey's,
Mickey,
yeah, like a Mickey.
But we
being a
were sat
penis.
down at 12. We were sat down, and I remember Mum and Dad sat us down. It was real formal. We knew there was something coming. And this is it. They're going to talk about it. And then I remember Dad, like it was a bit, we're going to talk about the birds and the bees. Always wear a hat when you're going swimming, boys. And we were like, we don't really swim, Dad. We're not swimmers. It's like, no, we're always wear a hat. And that was like, it really did. I
didn't
can't
go that
remember. That
much.
was the one line I do remember. It was like 30 years ago, but I remember that
But
was
so I imagine, like, so what's it like? So literally, like, having done it many, many times.
Oh,
30
boys-
years of it.
Boys
Yeah.
will always roar laughing or anything around penis, and then when it goes
Oh.
to vagina, it
well,
suddenly gets quiet.
because they're so familiar. I mean, like
vulva.
they got the Mickey, you got the nicknames, you've got the.
It's hanging outside.
Hang,
so it's-
you've had a relationship with it since maybe day one, whenever your arms come into
And is
use.
this like societal shame, or what
well,
is it? Like,
just
just
listen.
sorry,
and then women, like a female-bodied person, a biologically female-bodied person. It's tricky with the pronouns. I'm sorry if I'm getting them fuddled up. But there's no relationship because everything's so well hidden up in our bodies, and rightfully so. Because if we could play with our uterus and our ovaries, like we'd mess things up, we'd knock one off, like whoop, or it would not. It's probably a bad expression here, but one would fall off and roll away, or so it's up here tucked away behind skin and fat and intestines and muscle and hip bone and sacrum. It's so well protected, and from below you've got this whole like hallway of the vagina, which is just like a lobby, just like this space. And
lobby.
and
It's
all
a good way of thinking.
Yeah,
of it.
all the boys are like, I'll be a bellhop. I'll meet you in the lobby. I've been waiting for you in the lobby for 40 minutes. But it's just this hallway, and then with the cervix above it, just with this little hole, and you can't come up here unless you're a sperm. It's beautifully designed, but we don't know that from the beginning, and all we have outside is just labia. So that's it. And I had one boy student. He was like, I have never heard of labia. What is it? And then, everyone explains like, oh, so it's like you have a bottom in the back and then you have a little bottom in the front. I love how he described it as a little.
Wow.
It's like, that's visually correct, but let's not call it a bottom in the front. Anyway, so Kuva stands for all the bits and pieces down there, which is from front to back, the clitoris, the urethra, the vagina, and the anus. And clitoris, the clitoris, the clit, whatever you guys, what do you guys call it?
Yeah, clit.
Clit.
Clitoris.
And is really, again, we're made of the same Lego, so that's the same as the head of the penis, the same tissue.
It's a super sensitive.
Yeah, it's
8,000 or 800,000 or 8 billion nerve endings.
8 trillion zillion million. The bullseye.
I'm going to come back.
magic button.
I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Yeah, it's that's exactly right. It is.
Could be.
And so that tissue is the same, and then we're made of the same Legos. So we'll come back to that in a second. But then, half an acre back this way is the urethra for urination, and then the vagina back there for reproduction and whatnot, and
The
anus, which we all have to use. So on a plant-based diet, just you guys know, let's go above the anus there. So many things are benefited. The microbiome totally enhanced. The chances of colon cancer is totally decreased. Diverticulitis totally decreased. Hemorrhoids, the chance for those decrease, or if you have them, they just deflate. And constipation, which is a huge issue in America. I don't know about in Ireland, but
more
it is,
dry processed foods.
yeah, just lack of fiber. And anyway, it's just totally decreased. So that totally benefits your everything above your A in the kuva from eating a plant-based diet. Yes.
Does the age of menarche, as in when a female gets her first period, typically end up later as a result of eating a plant-based diet, which doesn't have human growth or kind of growth hormones that would typically go into bovine or go into cows? I wonder. I'm just curious.
I don't have the data on that, but the official data, but from my own little survey, it tends to be a little more delayed. Not always, because I know my mom, she's just so proud to be like, I had my period when I was 8 years old, but she was not a plant-based. And we're like, you did?
For real?
That's traumatizing. Yeah, she thought she had something wrong. She just would hide it all. Anyway, she's hilarious about it. Yeah. She's so proud. And but that was crazy early. And that was in 1943.
Wow.
Jeez. But anyway, I think it's a little more into the teenage years when it's sort of healthier. Like the less exposure you have at your body to all those hormones is better. Like to come into puberty later and to get to menarche earlier is healthy, because estrogen just makes things grow.
Yeah.
But that's a great question, and I don't want to speak to that because I don't have the exact data for that. But
you were on about kuva before.
The V. So the V. Let's go up the vaginal space.
The lobby.
Up through the lobby, lads. Let's go.
Up the vulva.
Up the hole there, and then up there's the uterus, the endometrial lining of the uterus, and the ovaries, and all that stuff benefits from being on a whole food plant-based diet. The hormones in your body are your hormones, not from the cow, the eggs, the dairy, the animal flesh, and all that stuff just totally benefits from being run by your own human hormones and not any other influence. It doesn't have the ups and the downs or the whatever kind of influence they have. And we talked about fibroids earlier. I have a friend who's in her 50s, and she just said, "Oh, I never could get pregnant, but now I had fibroids, and now I feel like I could have gotten pregnant had I known about plant-based earlier."
Wow,
and it's just sad if that's something that somebody wanted to try to have an option. So if you have fibroids, try going plant-based. Other things about the I'm going to come back to the uterus in a bit, but the urethra is the next one. The CUVA, the urethra. So interesting how if we go up the urethra, we're going up to the bladder, up to the ureters, and to the kidneys. Their kidneys, you guys probably have heard people talk about this, but your kidneys really, really do not want to be burdened by too much protein. Any doctor, any healthcare person will say, like, if you have a kidney issue, do not eat a lot of protein, even plant-based, because it burdens the kidneys. You have to filter it out because you can't store it. Like, you store, you can store carbohydrates, fat. It turns quickly to, fat or whatever you need, your energy. But you have to process all your protein. So you burden your kidneys with too much protein, and you don't want that to have happen. And some of Dr. Michael Greger, Dr. Michael Greger. Yeah. He's such a great cat. His research, or his body of research around in his book, How Not to Die or How to Not Die. I always say it wrong. Is it How Not to Die or How to Not Die?
How Not to Die.
How Not to Die. We have it right here.
Very good, Dave. Look at that.
Well
I
done.
knew I'd seen it.
He talks about how, especially in chicken, if you eat chicken, in chicken, there's that horrible bacteria that's really resistant to antibiotics. And so the sort of incidence of urinary tract infections, UTIs, in people just is so high in those who eat chicken. And that same antibiotic resistant bacteria doesn't just get in your body and stick with you. It's also on your cutting boards and your sinks and your faucets and your refrigerator handles. And so I know, having 3 plant-based kiddos, I'm like, you guys only date vegans, please, because I don't want you mucking around down there and getting this bacteria in your body
And
that
spreading it around as well.
yeah.
I could be wrong or right in saying this. UTIs are more common in women than men.
Yes, because
Is that-
you guys have a much longer
It's just a straight-
urethra, because you
Okay.
have more time. You can kind of
It's a longer shoot.
you have a
get
longer
out.
shoot. You got all that
Yeah.
mileage that you can get the
Yeah, get the things out or whatever.
yeah. So for women, it's I think it's especially helpful to just steer clear of all that stuff burdening there. But then C, the clitoris, in front. Yeah, woo,
Here we are, fun time.
woo. They're fun. Yeah, exactly. We are all made of the same Legos, like we said. So that tissue in the clitoris it's called the clitoris glands or clitoris glands, and yours, the head of the penis, is called the glans penis.
Hotspot.
Yeah, the hot spot there on the top. And what's so interesting is that just in November, maybe you guys heard this research. I was so excited about it. It was just
Great.
released in November that it was told that there were 8,000 nerves in the clitoris. Do you guys know how many nerves there are in the penis?
A million.
About 1,000.
Don't know. It feels like a lot.
Loads. I know it's nothing as much as a clitoris. I know a clitoris is
So
way
how do
more.
you know that?
Because women
think
are more
I-
complex and sophisticated than men in every way.
Of course they were. Us dumbed down,
Yeah, apparently there's 4K. There's 4,000
in a penis.
in the penis, and this research.
2x. So woman gets 2x the nerves.
No, women have 10,000, 2.5x.
Oh, wow.
Damn right.
It was just released, and like 10K nerves in the clitoris, and I'm like, I'm having a 10K for the 10K. So we're having a 10K for the 10K on 10/10.
Wow.
So
It's a 10K, a running
A run.
10K.
yeah, or just whatever you want to do. If you want to walk 10K steps, if you want to knit 10K stitches, if you want to talk 10,000 words, if you want to swim 10K in the bay there with your
This is an event on the 10th of the 10th.
Yes,
To
but-
celebrate the 10,000
and
nerves.
it's a celebrating. Well, it's education and celebration because there's so little known about this. And here's my example of how I know there's so little known. One day, this very bold 7th grader or 7th class, what do you guys call it? The 7th grade?
So
7th?
that's about
we
around
call it
10, are they, or 12?
First year, they're about 12.
Are they 12 or 10? Or?
They're about 12, yeah.
Yeah, so it might be first year.
This great kid came up to me and said, "Oh, Miss Esselstyn, I figured it out. If I was a girl, I would wear a tampon all day long. Woo-hoo-hoo." And I'm like, why? He's like, it'd be like having sex all day. And I was like, for me, as a teacher of middle school sex ed for all these years, I was like, voila. They know nothing about female pleasure, where it is, or what it just, the vagina is a target. And the vagina itself doesn't have these nerve endings. I mean, that's where a baby's supposed to come out. Yes, there's a complexity about G-spots, anterior, the wall, as you get older, more, whatever, you get into the sex life. But is it middle school kids? Or whatever, middle grades, whatever you guys
There's
call it.
the 80-20 rule, and the 80-20 rule would be that 80%
Of the 10,000 nerves up front, blaring neon
there's
sign.
one magic
Whoop,
button,
whoop,
and
whoop.
then there's a shoot that's more complex.
Yeah,
with-
yeah. So 10K and then whatever you can add to it, throw it over the top. So anyway, when he said this, I just said, you know what? From now on, like there's so much known about the pleasure that happens in the penis. I mean, from
Well,
a
it's a lot
young
more
age.
simpler. I remember someone describing it. A penis is like a microwave, and
Yeah.
a female pleasure center is like an oven. It's got to preheat. It
Yes.
takes time. That was very relevant.
Yeah, that was. I think I heard. We were interviewed somebody who talked about that.
I can't remember who said it, but I remember it was like, that makes so much sense.
So much sense. And
And it's hard because male are impatient, and they're just like,
yeah.
and then it's
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck. Excuse my language anyway.
But it is this polka dot for pleasure, and it is
Polka dot for pleasure.
it's just
That's
this
the
but the magic
tiny-
button.
Yeah,
It's right there. So anyway, so this 10K for the 10K, I've specifically designed these headbands or hats, whatever you want to get, with polka dots, and not with the vulvic sort of triangle shape, this is the target for like the tampon, if you will, or the penis, like just basically like That's not where the pleasure is. So this polka dot just represents something else. So I want to educate and celebrate about this area that women oftentimes aren't. It isn't discussed amongst
Oh no, there's still
friends.
huge shame around.
Oh yeah, but even I'd say it's only been in the last 10 years that it's become much more socially aware
Yes.
that like, and maybe it's only just because our understanding by doing a sex series and everything that how important the clitoris is versus the vulva in terms of pleasure, in terms of a woman's pleasure. Like, you know, it seems so obvious now, but when we were teenagers, we certainly didn't have
No
an
idea.
idea of this, or even in our 20s, you know.
Yeah. So you guys know this is a podcast, but here's I want you guys to join the clitorati.
Cool. Clitorati.
The clitorati. So this is
Illuminati of
we're having a
clitorati.
10K. You see, you guys, this is look at the polka dots on there. Join the 10K for the 10K. Join the clitorati and become more clitorate to know more
Become
about.
more clitorate.
Yes, to know.
Wow.
Yes, and so we're looking for hashtags like hashtags we're all finishers, haha. Hashtags normalize it, like you just said, Dave. Like we need to normalize this
Well, I think it's-
conversation.
I like
I
that
think
we're all
it's so
finishers.
important.
Poke that dot. Yes.
But I can't
These
imagine,
are all
like-
hashtags for anyone listening.
Yeah,
Sorry.
hashtags be more understood of what's under the hood.
Girls just want to have 2.5 times more fun. Yes!
Oh my
Crown
God.
that jewel. Woo!
Girls
I
just
like this.
There was a great book I remember reading it. I don't think it quite made it through at all. It was called She Comes First.
Oh,
It was
yeah, that's
very
a great
good. It was
one.
very good because it was talking about, you know, I can't remember your man's story exactly, but it was all about just the clitoris and just like the whole book was about oral pleasure and why it's so important in penetrative sex. Like that oral cunnilingus is so much more effective if you want to pleasure a woman than penetrative sex in his experience and his studies. And he, you know, it's a book that sold millions of copies and it was very
It's great.
interesting.
And if someone's not, for whatever reason, into that, like just a helping hand, be a GPS for your partner, like help guide them to what needs to happen or guide
But
yourself.
even women, lots of women don't even know.
I
Like can't
know.
find it, don't know
I
where it is, don't know
know.
what the pleasure is. How do women adapt to that? Someone listening and going, "Yeah, this is amazing. I have this pleasure button in my body, but I can't find it. And like
Well,
it's
I
so
think
hidden.
most people can find it now.
Some people, believe me, they really don't know. They're like, where? And they're kind of scared to go there. Like you guys are, boys are, it's so normalized to like, to pee, to clean, to hold, to
How to
comfort.
look around.
Yeah,
I
hammock
watch
around, look for
one of
ticks.
my sons is just all playing
Yeah.
with it, all hanging with it all the time. You got to tell him, stop touching your Mickey.
Yeah. And that's probably not what's happening with your daughters, you know, or just,
No.
it's not a thing. And I know having collegiate age daughters that there's way more banter and fun around their body parts down there, or, you know, talking about, you know,
As men.
like, they're not as equal as men, but like there's more comfort coming. And I know that they've been raised in our household where we talk about this stuff. And I remember
Well,
saying
you'd
to
hope you being a sex ed teacher, you'd hope that it's more, you know, you're more, in most
Liberal.
houses, people, it can often be more, there's more energy when they're, there's more,
Yeah.
you know, there's that energy. Can we talk about sex? Whereas if you talk about it just normally, like sex is so normal, like it's so normal. It's
Yeah.
like every human that's been is here because people had sex. It's
Yeah,
like,
like when you said your parents sat you down, I thought, oh gosh, it's not a talk. Like as you're saying, it's
Yeah.
a lifelong prattle.
But
So
even I see my like 10-year-old son, Tia, will start like getting nervous around talking about sex. And I'm like, it's normal. It's like talking about the weather. Stop having this drama around it. Let's just talk about it as in we're talking about dinner, as in we're talking about the weather. It's part of life. It's like going to the toilet. It is nothing exceptional.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah,
is,
but
and
that's
it's a
hard to
beautiful
get to.
expression. I mean, it's like we're spiritual, we're athletic, we're academic, we're sexual, we're complicated, we're
Emotional.
totally emotional. We've all these aspects, and so to talk about it as early as possible does normalize it, and I think, and you want to have your kids be able to talk about it at home with you, ideally, and not look for at Google or look to their ill-informed
porn
friends.
for-
Oh, porn's not going away. But if you can have your kids, as you guys know, don't trip my porn wire. Just really try not to have a very limited diet of that.
As a father of two daughters, it's more, I find they're less likely to talk to me about things like that. Like I find when I bring it up, Dad, you know, it's met with that. Whereas, you know, I think maybe mother, because they got the same same toolkit, like maybe in my experience with my daughters, that's what I find.
But
I've tried, I try.
well, good. So they know that their job is
try.
to push back, but
Yeah.
to know that you will talk about it with them is probably, I'd say 80% there. Like they know they can.
I will try to. And then they're, oh, Dad, you know, That's usually what I meant.
Here, you can give them a postcard from me.
Yeah, I will leave it on the table. I'll leave it on the table, and I'll see who reads anything about it.
No. Well, so I'm going to get back to the C. So the 10K for the 10K. It's just so exciting. If Zeb's still here in October, he can lead the charge.
Lead the
clitorati walk, swim, hike, whatever you guys have with the polka dot headbands.
Eat 10,000 lentils.
Oh my
gosh,
10,000
lentils.
Yeah, of course.
Polka dot noses.
And
That's
bullseyes on our foot.
10,000 lentils.
Oh gosh, that would be great. So what happens when a woman is stimulated in whatever way sexually? It can be, mentally or physically, or as you talked about, orally down there. The blood flow happens, and women do have the same tissue down there, like the same Legos again. The shaft of the penis is made up of tissue called corpus cavernosa, just like the body that it can fill like a cavern with blood. We have the same thing. Our corpus cavernosa goes along our pelvic floor from the clitoris back. It wraps like two arms of hippie wrapping around a tree.
Two arms of hippie wrapping around a tree.
It does. It wraps around the vaginal space. That's called crura.
Is that like the labia become firmer?
No, the labia just stays right there. This is from the clitoris.
Okay, inside of the labia.
It goes right. It goes right. So it goes around the
labia.
labia.
Like it contracts.
No.
Okay. Oh no.
It's blood flow. It's just like blood flow in the.
Blood's coming more in.
Blood flow is so important to our skin, to our this, to everything, everywhere. Prostate.
Oh, our ability to experience pleasure is dictated by our blood flow.
And blood flow is wide open when you're not full of like grease, meat, cheese, and eggs clogging all the little microscopic little capillaries. So the blood flow is happening, and the more she's like back to the point of the preheating the oven gets the blood flow going in her crura and her corpus cavernosa back, wrapping around the vaginal space. And then what happens is that blood flow there's plasma and blood, and a woman's lubrication is made from plasma and female chemicals. So her lubrication, her sign for readiness, comes from the blood flow from the stimulation. The way that a male sign for readiness is an erection, which comes from stimulation and blood flow that engorges.
And the microwave turns on in seconds.
Yeah, and the microwave, beep. Yeah, it's ready to go. So being a plant-based diet, I want to make sure I have all the things that I wanted to say there. Yes. Plant-based diet is a little daily Viagra, which I hate to even say that word, but it helps keep our blood flowing clean in all of us, and without having sort of a barrier to getting to where it's trying to get. If it's to dropping off glucose, or engorging this, or making you hear or see, or giving energy. Yeah.
Okay, raising in an overly sexualized society where pornography is prolific and where often sex is used as a means of climbing up different pecking orders in sex, meaning it could be male, it could be female, whatever people are identifying. How does one try to raise children that have somewhat an understanding of sex, but also to have a self-worth that sex isn't a means to an end, that it's a means of intimacy and it's a means of connection? And that's a really big question, but I'm just curious.
That's a really big question. That's such a huge one. And I think that I don't know your households, your homes, but my sense of who you are, and having brothers that are just like you guys, like you can't hide anything. Like you go home and you're the same way. So seeing your kids seeing you and your partner at home, your spouse at home, is beautiful modeling of what's normal. Like you give a kiss, you give a hug, you're intimate. This is like, they're not intimacy, but just like they understand that you have your own space, your own room, and what happens there, and that you love each other, and you can fight, and you can love, and you can reconnect. And there's a sexual energy under that. And I'm not saying to be sexual in the household. Like I'm not that way at all with my husband in front of our kids, but our kids have a sense that like we're connected and we're together. And that's so much richer than the quick flare of passion. And so I know from a very young age, I've talked to our kids, and my husband's wonderful about talking to them. Also, just in conversation, or like if you're watching a movie, just say like, "Oh, look at that bad choice! Like they're gonna feel so bad in the next scene." And sure enough, bad scene. And just watch movies with them, watch series with them, or I don't know if you guys watch TV, or if they're listening to music, make comments about it, even though like it's like, whatever it is. I'm like, oh my God, did they really just say that they're going to do that? Mommy, don't listen to the words. It's the beat. And I'm like, but those words, like just
Keep
the
staying on.
prattle, like the sex ed talk that I was saying, that you parents
Yeah.
had with you. Like it's a lifelong prattle tied into how do you respond to a story at the dinner table? How do you respond to this music? How do you respond? Because there's the sexual message is in the music. It's in the movie. It's in the
How people dress.
how people
it's
dress
everywhere.
And we were commenting on that walking through town yesterday. Like, wow, all these young women
Oh,
really want to show everything
Oh,
off.
Yeah, yeah.
and all
And it's-
fake tan to the.
and oh, I didn't notice that.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah.
all painted orange.
A lot of
So
I shouldn't
the
say they're all
message,
made.
that's and it has been normalized in Greystones, or I mean, I don't think it has. I mean, I don't know if it has,
kind of
but
Irish culture.
it's just too bad. So I'm sure your partners are not that way. And,
Yeah, no.
and-
My wife's from Belgium, and she kind of talks about she just can't. She finds it sad and funny. She kind of finds it because in Belgium it's a very different dressing culture for teenagers.
So I would just say to keep talking about it and keep having your opinion about it. And your kids, they come around. I mean, my kids are just in their early 20s. So I'm not going to be like some hot shot here, but it's beautiful how they've come around and having the discussion with pornography with them since they were, how old were you? I mean, you were young. So my daughter's here. I'm asking her. I mean, she can't remember. Do you ever remember us when we started talking about sex in our household? Oh yeah, I have to bring condoms to my classes, so I would put them over the ketchup bottles or the cucumbers to see like if you can see through or can you read the
See if you put it
ingredients.
on right.
How they unroll. Just practice with them, and like so it was so normalized that discussion about
And
being
it
a
was no
sexual
big
being.
deal. It was nothing weird.
But the one rule we had in our household, you know what it was? Our kids would say like when should we have sexual intercourse? Because I like to talk about sexual intercourse separate from sex,
Yeah.
because sex used to mean gender, now it doesn't. And sexual contact, sexual intimacy, sexual abuse, sexual behavior, sexual feelings. There's so much around. So I hate the word sex, but sexual intercourse. They would say like, when are we supposed to have sexual intercourse? It's a beautiful little kid question because there's no right answer. I'm like, oh, you guys will know, but there's one rule: you have to be able to know how to have your own pleasure before you can share that with someone. That's the family rule. And my son was like, oh yeah, it's great. Got it. Like, check. It's so funny. But I think that's a really powerful thing to say. Like if you're going to share your body with somebody in a sexual, that much of an intimate way with sexual intercourse, like understand and know how you can have pleasure so you can teach this person. You've got to be able to communicate, to connect.
And that there's also an aspect of being comfortable in your body and understanding
And
it
that
in
you can even
yourself
talk.
that you can talk about it, which takes great self-discovery and self-awareness. Because
Yeah.
now being 43, I'd feel very comfortable. Like I but when the thought of me being 23 and being
And
that
being able to go,
comfortable,
no, don't touch it that way, please, that way.
I
that
like
would-
it like
it's
the-
like.
Yeah.
Here's what I like on paper. Here it is. If you could.
Whereas I remember talking to Dan Savage, and Dan Savage said one of the benefits of a homosexual relationship, at least two men, it was like it's only as soon as you
Yeah.
get with someone the conversation starts. Whereas in a typical heterosexual relationship, you don't have a conversation. Like, what do you like?
Yeah.
Whereas with two guys, it's like you have to go, what way do you like it? Before
Yeah.
anything
do you?
even happens. Whereas with the male female, it's just
Yeah.
assumed. And I thought that was like, wow.
P&V.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. I love Dan Savage stuff.
Remarkable. Yeah, remarkable. Okay, where do we want to go now?
Well, we go to the farm shortly, so I think let's land this plane. Let's start wrapping this up.
Okay, plant-based. Anyone listening who's really interested in eating more plant-based and they're afraid, they're intimidated, they know it's right. Top tips.
Because society doesn't necessarily encourage it. The environment doesn't make it easy. What would you say?
Like the
what do you
environment in
say
the
to
States is 65%,
Ultra-processed
ultra-processed foods. In Ireland, 60% processed foods. Like it is prolific. We live in an obesogenic environment. How does one protect themselves and insulate themselves so they can eat more whole plant foods?
I love how you guys say just eat more veg. It's just so, it is the answer. It is the answer. And I know as a woman, it is from head to toe, you'll feel better about yourself and you'll just, eat more veg.
to just get started?
Just go. No need to wait.
overthink it.
Start 1 meal at a
Don't
time.
overthink it. Don't overthink
Get
it.
support is a really good one. Like social support, as in, I find I'm a better human when I have social accountability. And I think the more you can get support, like as in Anne had Essie,
Well, Essie had Anne.
Or Essie had Anne. And by having each other, it meant
Yeah,
they could
yeah,
do
yeah.
it. But on their own, it could, unless you're a badass like Anne Esselstyn, you mightn't necessarily be able to, you know, strive along on your own when it's difficult.
No, it is. And I think in the States, we're just not always you guys have a great community here. Like just walking through town, like it's amazing. Or biking through town, it's amazing. And I think it's in the States, it's a little bit harder sometimes to find community. People always ask us, well, how can you find community? And they, you know, they create these plant-based potlucks and stuff. But just it sustains you so well. So just let it sustain you and stick with it. No matter how alone you can feel sometimes with it. But and a community will form around it because there are so many people out there discovering it. So eat more veg and you'll find more veggie heads.
And I think it happens over time because, like, you know, you could say, oh, you got a great community. It's only because it's been 20 years of doing it and people, you know, people come together, as you say.
Yeah, you guys
like,
are probably a freak show when you first landed over there. And
it certainly wasn't
very
any
much so.
community, but over time, it just little by little before you know it. And then you look around.
Well, I think you articulated when we started the Happy Pear first, if I look really inside myself and I'm really honest, one of the main reasons why we started was we wanted to create a lifestyle that would support us where the healthy choice was the easy choice. So we wanted where it was easy for us to eat plant-based food, where it was easy for us to attract others that were into this. That was like, ultimately, that was one of the reasons.
that's we have.
And I can only articulate that retrospectively.
Well, no, but that's brilliant because that's choice architecture, like making the right choice the easiest choice.
Right.
So well done.
Choice architecture.
That was just luck.
Well,
lucky.
that's not my term. It's
Damn
Brian, my husband, has a talk about that.
Okay, nice word.
Good one. Well, this has been wonderful, Jane.
It's been so great.
Yeah, you're brilliant.
So
You really are.
10-10 is a great event. That's to celebrate
Yes.
that there's 10,000 nerves in the
I'm gonna get in
clitoris.
touch with you guys. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
dude,
you guys have
clitorati.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
having
clitorati.
you having your 10K for the 10K?
We could do some Instagram lives leading up to just to talk about it because
10K,
I think it's so important.
And your book, please tell everyone about your book because I think it's wonderful and it's a great
what your
helping hand
mother
for
has
anyone who
88.
wants to eat more plant-based.
Yes.
And she is a plant-based badass.
She's a pistol.
40 years.
Yeah, total pistol.
Pistol, wow.
Yeah, it is be a plant-based woman warrior, live fierce, stay bold, eat delicious. I know this is not going to go out today, but we're talking in Dublin tonight about it.
Yeah,
at Hodges.
Hodges Figgis. Yeah,
nice.
Jane's doing an international talk tonight. Hodges Figgis, Bookstore Dublin. You'll have missed it by the time you listen to this,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it was world class. But her books, you follow her on social media and 10K. So that's on the 10th of October to celebrate 10,000 nerve endings in the clitoris.
Educate and celebrate. Because we
Educate
need a little more
and
education.
Oh,
It's to educate and
Across
celebrate.
society
Jar.
at large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, you're wonderful, Jane. We
Yeah,
love
you really
dearly.
are. Really, yeah. You're
You
wonderful.
guys.
Very, very remarkable.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we look forward to, if anyone wants to come see Jane's son, he's going to be working in the cafe or in the Happy Pear this summer. And he's
Yes,
great.
you can't miss him. He's 6'7".
6'7".
Well,
yeah,
he's 6'6" and 8/10 or something. It's ridiculous. Or
He's
3/4.
the last person you'd ask, where'd you get your protein from?
Exactly.
Because he
Exactly.
ain't skinny either. Like if
No,
he's a hunk. Yeah, there we go. Right.
All right.
Anyway,
Hey.
Thank you, Jane.
Mwah.
Cheers.
Mwah,
Bye, bye,
mwah,
bye.
mwah.